shortest full self-improvement guide that you'll ever see on YouTube. And since I have less amount of time, I'm going to get straight into it. Get your notes out, get prepared. And I don't hope that there's value in this video. I know that there's value in this video. So let's draw a character first. Let's draw a random stick man over here. His name is Raju, alright? And he wants to get onto self-improvement, so we're gonna give him a bunch of pointers, which you can take a screenshot of at the end of this video in case you cannot take notes. Oh god, there's something in my eye. The first thing, we're gonna start with the most important things. Afterwards, we're gonna move into the more habit-based stuff. Start with the first one, which is, let me read the script. Content. Yeah. Some of you all probably know why I'm putting this over here. Content. The first point. This is very important to talk about because the type of content you consume not only gives you information that you need, but it also affects your personality in certain ways. You are the average of the top 5 podcasts you consume the content of. And this is not fake, this is true. If you consume brain rot all the time, more than likely you will have more thoughts about brain rot. Similar things go for education. The first step to getting out of a rut, the first step to even beginning self-improvement is always fixing the type of content that you are watching. Watch more educational stuff, watch better long-form content, avoid short-form content. And there's guides on my channel on how to do that specifically. If you want to take this to the extreme, you're gonna want to get a dumb phone. Look at this. You know that I practice what I preach. Some of my friends actually see this dumb phone and they're like, oh, I thought you were doing this for just 7 days. The 7 days challenge video that I made back in the day. They think that, oh yeah, I thought you're just doing this for 7 days. I don't realize that you are doing this as a daily life thing. This is such a left turn from what people think is normal. But this is my dumb phone. You know what I'm like. I practice what I preach. 5:22 a.m. It's pretty early now. Content. Fix the type of content that you're watching. Preferably, you're just gonna want to download the podcast and not watch anything else. But more on that later. The second point is seasons. And very few people actually talk about this in the self-improvement niche, specifically the holistic self-improvement niche. What does holistic self-improvement mean? Holistic means you're taking into account all the factors, right? So, in a person, I'm gonna need this area as well. So look at this section of the board here. So say this is another person. I didn't really mean to draw that. Like oh god. Okay. So this is another person wearing baggy jeans, and he has a bunch of stats that he can work towards. So maybe it's mental health, maybe it's physical health, maybe it's social skills, and let's take something else, work. Maybe it's work. And each one of these stats you can grow in. Holistic self-improvement says that you will grow in all these stats. The problem is when they hear about holistic self-improvement, most people on the internet, let me fix my mic, most people on the internet will tell you work on that together. You're going to focus on work, you're going to focus on mental health, physical health and social skills all in the same day. But the thing is, it does not work like that. You need to think in seasons. So for like 2-3 months, you're going to focus on your mental health, right? So you tick off mental health. For 2 months, all you do is focus on mental health. You journal, you meditate more on how to improve your mental health later on in this same exact video. Focus on mental health for like 2 months. At the end of the 2-month period, you're going to have a better mental health. You're going to have like a meditation streak going on. But after the 2-month period ends, you're going to stop thinking about mental health and you're going to start thinking about some other stats. So maybe, social skills. You're going to go out with your friends more. You're going to hang out more. You're going to have more fun. Naturally, if you are out there hanging out all the time, you're going to have less time to focus on your mental health. So at the end of the 2 months, you're going to sign this contract with like, okay, this season of my life, the mental health season of my life is done. I'm going to move on to social skills. Like this, if you break your 12-month year, a year has 12 months, right? If you break your 12-month year into different chunks, into different like 2-month, 3-month, 4-month period, depends upon what the goal you have for that season. At the end of the year, you're going to have developed in mental health, social skills, physical health, work. You're going to have developed into all these statistics, all these stats, and it will feel that you grew on all these sections simultaneously. But really what you did was break your year down in seasonal chunks and work focusing on each single stat in each single season. This is how, when you look at those YouTubers who have a six pack and they have a great mental health and they are posting consistently on YouTube, this is how they do it. They break their year up, they break their life up into seasons. And the truly advanced people, they will take 2 years for work, and then 3 years for physical health, and then 1 year for fun. They will have longer, larger seasons to focus on, because their goals become much more larger. But since you are starting out on self-improvement, you take like 2 or 3 months on each stat. Now, what do you do when you get out of a season? So based on the example, you end the mental health season and then you get in the social skills season. Do you forget about mental health? I don't think so. You do maintenance volume. So earlier you used to do like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of meditation. Now you're going to do like 3 minutes, 5 minutes at max, maybe alternate days, right? You had a season where you got into shape, you focused on your physical health for like 3 months, and then you lost some weight. You probably have got a six pack. The thing is, at the end of it, you're going to sign the contract that you're going to not focus on physical health, you're going to move on to mental health or whatever your next season holds for you. But you're going to still go to the gym, but instead of all days of the week, you're going to go like 1 day or 2 days in the week. You know what I'm saying? Like, you run maintenance volumes so that you don't completely lose the stat you just built. Enough yapping about the same section. Let's move on to the more operational stuff. By the way, these two are the things which no YouTuber is talking about in the self-help niche. Nobody in a full self-improvement guide will tell you about how to fix your content and how to think in seasons. Everybody is like, yeah, you have to work on physical health and you have to work on your mental health all at the same time. I don't like it. It does not work like that. You have to be a god to focus on every single thing at the same time, and you are just a human being. Break it up into seasons, you're going to get the same stat boost, you're going to get the same status as those holistic self-improvement guys, because really they are doing this. Next, we're going to move on to mental health, and this deserves like a whole video in and of itself, but I don't have the time to do that right now. There's 3 areas where you're going to focus on for mental health. We're going to put this in a little box. Yeah, now we're going to talk about the mental health box. For mental health, you're going to focus on damage control, then you're going to focus on damage repair, and then you're going to focus on upgrade. Because we all know, you don't need me to tell you that your brain is damaged. You know that your brain is damaged. It's brain rot, it's short form content. You got to first control the damage that is happening to your brain. After that, you're going to move to repairing the damages that happened, and then upgrade. If you try and upgrade or repair before you stop the damaging from even happening, you're going to run an uphill battle, which is never the battle that you want to run. For damage control, we're going to run back to content, because this is so important. Most of the damage to your brain has been done through content. You have been watching short form content, which has absolutely exploded your mental health, which has absolutely shortened your attention span. You can't focus more than a goldfish, like what those other people say. Plus also this NSFW content that you're watching, which is conditioning you to be a cuck. There's so much damage to your mental health that you are having simply through content. You got to control the content. That is why I put it in the first step. You got to control the damage first and then watch better stuff as a first step before you move into upgrading. For repairing, we're going to do simple things like meditation, journaling, and what was the third thing? I got to check the script once. Wait, it's in this page. Second, journaling, and healthy content consumption. You're going to focus on meditation. You're going to search up on YouTube guided meditation for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You're going to follow through that. That's meditation done. I hope you can ignore the music because I can't stop recording right now. There's some stupid people playing some stupid music in the background. So on the repair, you're going to focus on meditation first, then journaling. Journaling is basically you get yourself a diary and then you just vent out all your thoughts on there every few days so that you don't lose your mind. You can also forcefully think about gratifying thoughts, thankful thoughts about people or things around you. So for example, I am grateful that this mic exists. I am grateful that this table exists on which I can write stuff. Can the government please ban vehicles on the road? because I'm trying to record here. Anyways, so that was it for journaling and meditation. Next, you're going to focus on healthy content consumption, which I have already discussed. Next, upgrade. How do you upgrade your mental health? Because right now you're just maintaining, you're just trying to fix up your brain. How do you upgrade your brain? You start reading more difficult books. You start meditating for longer times. So instead of 5 minutes, you do 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, right? Instead of journaling just like to vent or to express gratitude, you journal about complex topics, about complex ideas in your head that you're getting from consuming healthy content. You see how everything plays out. You just progressively overload on the existing things and slowly increase the stakes. There are certain other things about mental health which I have skipped over. So for example, maybe your mindset, right? Maybe it's your sleep. I've not talked about them, but they are pretty important as well. There's barely enough time to discuss everything about mental health in this one single video. But yeah, you can do all the damage control, repair and upgrade as you want, but you still will not have the best mental health because social skills. Social skills is actually so extremely important. If you don't have human connection in your life, you will never have the best mental health. It is rightfully said that, one second, let me just draw this box first. What is that? Was that a bird? Am I living in Jurassic Park? So, social skills. It is said that the number one biggest correlation to your long health and your health overall is the number of human connections that you have. If you have more friends, you're going to have a healthier life, a healthier mental health. I have a separate guide on my channel which I would urge you to watch after you finish this video about how to make new friends. It's an artistically detailed guide on how to make new friends when you go into a new college or new school. So I highly recommend you watch that. Whatever I've said in that video still holds true. One thing from that video which I will repeat here is never follow Dale Carnegie. You know, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book makes you autistic. Like actually autistic. It's gonna make you overthink so much, at least from me and my friends as well. It's gonna make you overthink so much. Like, yeah, you're gonna smile now, you're gonna do this behavior, you're gonna say this, you're gonna move your hands like this. So many tactics. If you try to keep all of them in your head, you're just gonna overthink like crazy. And when I'm overthinking, when I think anybody is overthinking, you're not in a very good social flow state. And a social flow state is what you need in order to be good with social skills. So don't follow Dale Carnegie. My advice is, I would say better than Dale Carnegie. It's not egotistical or something. It is just what works. But yeah, you have to understand that social skills is important. Yeah, physical health. And if you look at my biceps, my hands are thin, okay? So I'm not going to be the person to teach you about physical health. But I would tell you some things if you just want some hacks. Focus on cardio. Never skip cardio. That's first. If you skip cardio, then you will not make gains. Trust me on this one. Next, if you are using a smartphone, then the best way to be consistent in your workouts is to download an app. You download one of those workout apps which tracks your progress for you, and not just tracks your progress, also gives you the actual workouts and the forms and everything else. Free apps, use the free programs within the apps. They're gonna keep you a lot more consistent. But if you live in a dumb phone life, if you use a dumb phone just like I do, you're gonna want to do like 3 or 4 exercises and not much. Focus on consistency and not variety or intensity. Okay, consistency is going to get you the body that you want, but not just about the body. Physical health is also about the distance you can run. Okay, the longer that you can hold your breath for, the better you can speak. Even this is part of physical health, right? Sleep is very important, but sometimes you can sacrifice it. This is probably the first time in the history of YouTube that anybody is putting work in a self-improvement video. But work is part of self-improvement. Nobody talks about this. I am so pissed out about this. Work is super important. Okay, there needs to be a season in your life where you are sacrificing your social skills, where you're sacrificing your mental health. You are not spending as much time with your friends. You are not spending as much time in the gym, physical health. You are not spending any time focusing on any other tactic, but just working. I am in this current stage. I am sacrificing my sleep. I am not seeing my friends as often. I am not focusing on my physical health or mental health. And I'm just recording these videos, editing these videos, getting these videos out for you guys to watch. Because this is a work season. When this season gets over, maybe I will focus more on social skills. Maybe I will focus more on mental health. Who knows? Let this season get over, and then maybe we can talk about what's the next season gonna be like. But right now, I'm focused on work and I don't really want to think about any other thing. Now, I just said that mental health is the one thing that you need to string together consistency and stuff. Did I even say that? It's part of it. It is in my script, but I think I forgot to tell you that mental health is actually pretty important, because if you want to be consistent, if you want to be even intense with your workouts, you need mental health. Okay, unless your mental health is good, you're gonna fall off very, very, very quickly. Does this mean that when you're in a working period, you're gonna sacrifice your mental health? But if you sacrifice your mental health, you're gonna sacrifice your consistency as well. So this kind of does not make sense, right? Let me connect the dots. First, you go through a big season of mental health where you focus just on your mental health, and say you level your mental health up to 100 points. Okay, I should write more. It's better for engagement. Where do I write? Suppose you focus on your why? Suppose you had like a negative 100 mental health, and you focus on a mental health journey and you put it up at positive 100, right? Then after that, you stop focusing on mental health, move into a work block, move into a season of work where you're not really focused on mental health. But since you have built your mental health, it can take some hits. The 100 point will go down to 90, then to 80, then to 50, right? By the end of the work season of your life, your mental health will be at, say, like 5 points, but it will not be at negative. Point is, you build up your mental health, your physical health, before you get into a big work season, so that those stats can take some hits. Yeah, I think that was it. I've been recording for 20 minutes. This video probably will be 21 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, I don't know. This is the full script. Have I missed anything? I don't know. There's so many different things that I could actually talk about, which are also kind of part of self-improvement. Say stoicism, say philosophy, say complex thinking, leveling up in certain different areas. Maybe I could like have a whole section about sleep. But like each of these sections that I've just discussed over here for Raju, yeah, like each of these could have like each separate videos on them, but I just try to condense everything in as short of a time as possible. And I think whatever this is here, like whatever I've discussed over here, it's good enough for you if you are trying to get out of a rut, or if you are just beginning self-improvement, right? This is enough for you if you're just beginning self-improvement. Just start with the first point. I hope you haven't skipped around, by the way, because I've put everything in order. I'm just going to write the order here as well. So you start with content, you fix the type of content that you watch, then you understand that life is based on seasons. You set up the next season of your life. One tip, I don't know how your brain works, but personally for me, it does not help if I break my year up into seasons beforehand. I usually like to take it one season at a time. So I'll decide what my next season is going to be, focus on that. At the end of that season, once I've achieved the goals, season's over, what's going to be the next season about? Only then I start thinking about the next season. But if you work better by just breaking your whole year up into seasons, go forward with it. Then I think after you focus on these two, you can just focus on any of these in any order if you want. But personally, mental health, then you focus on physical health, then you focus on this, and then you focus on work. I think this would be the order in which I would recommend that you start your self-improvement journey. Because usually, like if you are detached from the public, if you don't have a good mental and physical health, you will not be able to be good very at the work. Okay, I'm just yapping at this point. My battery is out of charge. Yeah, whatever. Enough reading the script, man. If you're still watching this video, is the video darker for some reason? Anyways, if you're still watching this video, subscribe. Okay, please. I need that. I think if you have been watching this video for so long, I think I kind of deserve a subscribe. Come on. God, I gotta pay my rent.